gonna get going. 3, 2, 1, go. This takes place at the end of after the Tomb Raider Underworld campaign. When, a little bit right there. Thought I turned those off. Where the doppelganger is thrown into the sea of items and the pirate town. I think we get the play and the doppelganger's powers, which are really speedrunner friendly. This game literally has a good cast. I noticed that the game audio was super loud. I'm turning it down now.
Like a new look.
It's skippable. It's not like I'm gonna PB anyway. Yeah, I turned it down quite a bit. Let me know if it's still too loud. That's a relic from when I was trying to turn NBZ up before I realized, okay, I'll just say it, the Twitch player was muted. It's so embarrassing. At this point, Natla takes the doppelganger back to the place of her birth. There is a gigantic machine here that we have to power up to heal Natla's wounds that she sustained in her climactic fight with Lara at the end of the Underworld campaign. So hi, Rip. Goodness. Well, that was rude. Almost all of the combat in this game is avoidable. There is one extended sequence where it's straight up required, but most of the time you can run past it. A few times where it's a little scary to do it. Theoretically, you can jump to the bottom platform there, straight ahead, and you don't have to jump to the top one first. It's really tricky, but it's cool if you get it right. Same thing here, you can jump straight to the second fissure. Oh! You can jump straight to the second fissure. It is one of those little corners you cut to turn a good run into a great run. nasty little mistake. Go on the correct cycle. That was very close. Much closer than it had any business being. Don't really care about those here. Shadow power doesn't take long to regenerate at all, as long as you don't deplete it entirely. You do deplete it entirely, and several times I'll do it deliberately, because there are combat modes. I guess a few, because we don't do that much combat, but there are a few times where I'll deliberately deplete it entirely. Because those combat moves are very powerful, and in some cases needed to finish off. I forget what the enemies are called. Whatever you call a zombie in Norse mythology. Dudes come out, we do not have to fight them. Yeah, I hope you can see why I was drawn to this as a because it's just so zoom, zoom, zoom. Yeah, I'm not really even playing that well. I'm just playing. I would love it if other people took this one out, this one in particular, not so much that concern about Beneath the Ashes or previously done previously. But this one in particular, although it would probably take a functional Xbox 360 emulator to make it happen at this point. Little scary nuts. Stand back. This is one of the scary ones. What? I just jumped through the blue flame. I do believe that's never happened before. That's usually what happens when you try to jump through the blue flame. I was about to say that part is pretty scary because there's a lot of enemies and not a lot of safe ground for the doppelganger to occupy. And you would think that dying and coming back would make it safer. It doesn't. All the enemies that were there are still there. Even though you seem to get checkpointed part of the way along the way. That was actually a lot easier. We're in a big central area where the big machine is.
The center structure looks like it plugs into the ceiling and powers the healing chamber.
They really should have subtitled the doppelganger's dialogue in gameplay because I really cannot make out much of what she says. And the actual cutscenes have subtitles, so it's clearly something that was on the developers' minds. It's only a couple of times she says anything during gameplay. On this instance, raising the platform, which we'll do 3 times, does actually despawn the enemies who were on it. When we get back out there, those particular enemies. Okay, go for a swim. Those particular enemies will not be up there, but other enemies of those types will spawn in. I'm not sure what I Oh my god, here. There. Whoa! That one I'm not taking the blame for. That one was just game dropping my there. Not taking the blame for that one either. Looks like I'm gonna go 2 for 2 with this game at Fleet Fest, because we haven't even reached the part that made me turn off the timer in embarrassment last time around. That was the ending. This is the easy part. Get this run a little more polished. This is definitely a run I'd like to do it more at once. Stop that. Baby jumps. I don't even know what we're doing. Christ, I didn't fall to my death that time? Snakehead to channel the Eider flow. The game audio is still pretty loud, so I'll turn it way the heck down. It's always the tough thing for me streaming. I don't hear my own balance. One of the really nice things about the doppelganger is she heals automatically over time. You don't have to worry about med kits or any of that beeswax. Through the level is fairly linear as long as you know where to look. These little cutscenes kind of show you where to look, too. Yeah, I definitely have issues when I try to play the Underworld campaign of, like, knowing where to go and what to do. This is not an ancient game by any stretch. It came out originally, I believe, for the PS2. But it definitely reflects a, sort of a bygone era of game design where it was, and some people like this, don't get me wrong, I'm just not one of them, but where it was okay to just kind of throw the player into the world and say, here you go, good luck. Nowadays, games are expected to give you more of a sense of where you're going and what you're doing. Even hard games, even Dark Souls, Elden Ring does that. Mice don't always make it through that in one go. That was a little close also. Tiny little skip there. Just avoiding jumping to the top platform and going directly to the side. Once you pass those little laser cannons there, you can just jump forward without the doppelganger's power, and you will move forward fast enough to get past the moving platform. Now this cutscene here is actually from the end of the other DLC, where Lara takes power over the doppelganger, but in her magnanimity, she uses that power to set the doppelganger free. And it is the doppelganger's own free choice to return to this place and kill Natla. So it's basically the reverse run of what we just did, except now the machine gears are moving. So it's a lot harder. I think that's another thing that I like about this DLC as a speedrun. It's pretty much just platforming. There's not really a ton of, like, crazy combat. There's some combat, but it's not a huge, even in a casual playthrough, it's not a huge portion of it. Nice. Pretty easy to die there. I'm probably waiting out a few cycles more than would be truly optimal, but I'm scared. Whoa, I got hit right as I jumped. That's happened before, but it's still kind of wild. Not terribly damaging death in terms of progression. Just the load time. I'm not sure, but I feel like playing this on the Xbox Series X, the load times must benefit from the SSD over playing this on Xbox 360, because they're longer than they would be on a PC, don't get me wrong. They're not that bad. It's another spot that's pretty easy to die, so glad I didn't. coming up on the one forced combat section, which is actually pretty nervy for PB attempts, because if you die at all, you have to do the whole thing over again. And we're a good halfway into the run, so it's a little scary if you've got a good time going. I didn't really have to wait out the cycle. The cycle just happened for me anyway, so that's nice. Alright, here's the one forced combat sequence. And if you pulled up the hint, it would actually tell you that. There's one of the doppelgangers' powers, Shadow Fire, where she unloads the double pistols faster than Lara could ever dream to. It can also finish these enemies off, giving them Shadow Fire. The Spin Kick is also a doppelganger power. You need to either do a doppelganger power or kick them while they're down in order to totally finish them. Oh, I thought I would have an example there, but actually this guy's barely damaged at all. And you definitely want to stay as much as possible in the center of this platform. Because if they knock you into the Eider, that is instant death. Yeah, the Shadow Punch does more damage than the Shadow Kick, but the Shadow Kick has a much wider hitbox. So when you're dealing with multiple enemies, it's probably better to do that. This guy wasn't finished off with a shadow power, so I had to kick him while he was down. And against one enemy, I will do the shadow punch. I wish knocking them into the Eider was insta-death, but I think they're made of Eider, so it doesn't quite work that way. Big boys down. We're going to have some more small boys. And then one more big boy, and that'll be the fight. Yeah, unfortunately, the next big boy is pretty rude. He will come in, usually comes in while we're still fighting the small boys. Or maybe I'm thinking of the first one. Okay, yeah. I think I was thinking of the first one. You would think that's a checkpoint. Because there's like that really short, I don't know if you even want to call it a cutscene, but animation, let's say, of the big boy jumping down. It is not. If I die here, I do the whole fight over again. Yeah, face tanking this guy's hits is not the worst idea, as long as you stay in or near the center of the platform. Because you'll have enough HP to withstand them, and there, fight's done. And certainly in the next couple of moments of running around, we will get all the damage from the fight. I'm gonna wait, because I'm scared. I love a game that has a literal go fast button. There's probably a more efficient way of doing this. And if you're in, like, desperation mode to regenerate shadow power, the doppelganger can do it in midair for tiny little bursts, or while she's pawing at one of these rock fishers. Doesn't get you much, but it might get you enough to get you to the platform you are needing to get to. These movements are slightly trickier with these circular platforms moving, especially right here. You have to be at the end. Yeah, it's very easy to just jump into the abyss there. Alright, not too bad. This is kind of scary. Hopefully I'll get it right. Nice. Yeah, fortunately the blue flames, and I don't know why the blue flames and not the blue liquid, but the blue flames are just as deadly to the creatures as they are to the doppelganger. The creatures have a name, I just don't remember it. I keep wanting to say Draugr, but that's God of War, which is also Norse mythology, but I don't think it's Draugr. If anybody knows, please say it in chat. It's gonna be one of those I kick myself when I hear it / read it. That move cuts off the Eider flow we did earlier, depowering the central device and leading the way to one of the 3 cores we have to destroy. And you destroy it just by punching it. That was a very good dive. More Eider flow redirected. I forgot to change the stream game again. That's okay. Nobody's here to see me. It's not that big of a deal. Can you jump in a straight line, please? Wow, what is that? Not taking the blame for that one either. I'll just do it. It didn't save me turning the Eider head? Gotta do this again? No, I don't. Okay, that's just bizarre. I had no idea that would be the case. This game's got some funky checkpoints. Alright. This is definitely making me want to, get better at this run again. I believe... my PB time is already coming fast. I definitely gave what should have been a pretty generous estimate. Something still didn't go right there. I should not have had to jump into this area. I should have been able to just walk into it. So I hope I'm not soft locked. I don't think I am. This definitely has... What? I'm not dead? Why am I not dead? What just happened? Oh, I know what just happened. This is a soft lock. Or it would have been if I destroyed the core. Yeah, something's not right here. I might just have to kill this, because something's not right here. There we go. Alright. This is actually okay. What? I'll stick with something's not right here, but at least it's not soft lock kind of not right. Yeah, I remember the first time I fell into this area before properly unlocking it. I'm like, oh my god, skip. But if you do destroy the core, when you skip into this area, it is a total soft lock. The wall in front of this door is still there. There's no getting around it. This way. Okay. I'm alive. That was cool that that didn't kill me. I don't know why that didn't kill me. Moving that snake head. Turns off the blue flame up here. This one as well. You only have a few seconds. You have to know where you're jumping, which I didn't. This is not going quite as well as I thought it would. Still got a very good chance to be better than Fate Test 4, although that's not saying much. Yeah, right there she just didn't climb. So bizarre. That's one of the few places where the next place to look is not quite so obvious. You have to wait for that platform to rise. I think that's probably why I remembered it, because I remembered having to remember it. Now the machine is off. We just need to run back to the central area and finish off now, which is, are you kidding me? Which is way easier said than done once we get there. So did not hit. Exact same way I jumped through the first time. Dropped through the first time. And it killed me the first time. Go figure. That's gonna, yeah, that one was my bad. I scampered up way too low based on when the piston was pushed through. Much better. There are actually speedrunning achievements for this DLC. Not for the DLC in a whole, it's for... Okay, that was interesting. It's for specific areas, and you have to get through them under a set time, of course, and without dying. I do have them both, but it took lots of tries. Big boy blocking my view. Now we are back to the central chamber. And hopefully this won't take 20 minutes.
The machine no longer protects Natalie. Now I can finish her.
There's gonna be a lot of enemies in this area and a lot of instant death hazards. Really just trying to push this guy into the blue lightning. Because as before, it'll kill him just as easily as it kills me. This is probably the hardest thing in the game right here. There's another one behind me. There's two more behind me. Baloney. Okay. Yeah, for contrast, the Fleet Fest 4 run, I turned the timer off. What? I was past it. I turned the timer off in shame when it hit an hour and 10 minutes. So, we're doing a lot better. I don't know why that's hitting me. I'm physically past it. There we go. This is my little discovery that made this so very much easier. I'm on skipping the final cinematic. Okay, that was a little delayed getting to time. But hey, under a very generous estimate, so not bad. And hopefully we are more or less on schedule. Hey, we are more or less on schedule. Nice. Hope you enjoyed that. That is definitely a run I'm going to seek to improve.